Have you ever struggled to achieve your dreams and goals that you set out for? Well, in this short excerpt from my professional pointer coaching program entitled Bridging the Gap, I demonstrate how you can take yourself from who you are now to who you'd like to become in the attainment of your goals. Listen into the end when I'll share my link for the free PDF of the Bridging the Gap worksheet. A goal of mine that I wanted to be the fittest 50-year-old on the beach. And nothing ever materialized from that. Have you ever set yourself a goal, but you just didn't seem to be able to connect to it, to be able to then leverage some energy and actually drive you forward? So when I came up last year, when I was working out my goals for 2023, I thought I need to start getting a little bit more accurate in what it is that, or how I can actually get to the realization of this goal. So I started to apply one of my lessons from my coaching program, which is called Bridging the Gap. The whole idea of bridging the gap is identifying who you are now, who you want to become, and then what is that gap between the two? And that gap is then the acronym being of GAP, Goal Achievement Plan. So you start to strategize what it is. See, when you can identify the who, not just the why, but you're going deeper than that. Who I'll become from achieving or realizing my why. If your why is about a new house, it's who do you become from that? Okay, that is a much more driving sense because you've now got this identity that you can actually attach to. So in my example over here that we got on the screen, who I was last year in November, was unfit. I was fairly unfit. I had a paunch. My belt had shrunk because I just happened to keep moving those little notches, what out and what out. I was always been active, but I was not fit. So I was fairly unfit. I then decided triathlete. So then the question comes is, how do I go from the who I am to the who I want to become? And as soon as I can identify with a triathlete, I can now start asking myself all of these questions I'm going to read for you there. So I'm going to ask you a question. I'll ask you to put in the chat box here. Who would you like to become in the next 3, 6, 12 months, whatever your timeline is? Who would you like to become? Not what, who. I will be a triathlete, not to win, but to compete in a triathlon in 2023. And as soon as I identify that, I can ask myself questions. How does a triathlete think? What does a triathlete do? What skills and knowledge does a triathlete have? What does a triathlete know? How does a triathlete speak? What habits do I need to take on that a triathlete has that I don't have? What habits do I have that will not serve me in being a triathlete? Where does a triathlete hang out? What material does a triathlete read? How does a triathlete train? All of these questions you can ask and associate with a specific person. So in your creation or your goal of who, if you've got a physical person, somebody that you look up to, that you respect, that has and already you can identify that they've got traits that you would like to adopt, put their name in there. Now, I could go and research triathletes and pick a name of a triathlete and start to follow them. I could easily do that. In this case, I just put triathlete. That was enough for me for identifying with a who. So who would you like to identify against or with? And here's the goal. Your goal is to become this who so that someday another person can identify themselves as wanting to be the you. So plagiarism, absolutely brilliant. It's fully allowed. Imposter syndrome, absolutely welcome. We all start there. We have somebody who has something that we believe is valuable to us. That's called a role model. Jim Rohn says the success is not to be pursued. It is to be attracted by the person you become. So I'm just going to add in who. The person who you become.